You think you can just cut in line? You can't do that, man. I've been waiting here.
Sir, I didn't cut anyone. I was told to step up by the cashier.
Don't lie to me. You saw me
Gentlemen,
standing.
that's enough. Sir, back up for me, right now.
He needs to step back, not me.
I said back up. We'll sort this out, but you need to calm down.
I'm fine, no problem.
Thank you.
This man thought he could humiliate a stranger in public and walk away like nothing happened. He was dead wrong. Before we continue, let me take this opportunity to thank you so much for supporting our channel. Just choosing to watch our video means a lot to us. Before we go any further, tell us, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if this is your first time here. It was a Tuesday afternoon at Riverside Mall. The food court was packed. Families eating lunch, teenagers scrolling on their phones, store employees on break. And in the middle of all that noise, a man named Trevor Callahan decided to make a scene. His target? A 63-year-old black man named Gerald Winters. Gerald was standing near the pretzel stand, checking his phone. He wore a plain gray sweater, khaki pants, and wire-rimmed glasses. Nothing flashy, nothing that screamed for attention. He was just a quiet man waiting for his granddaughter to finish shopping. Trevor was different. Mid-30s, loud, confident in the worst way. He had that look, the kind of guy who thinks the world owes him something. He was carrying 2 shopping bags and talking loudly on his phone when he bumped into Gerald. Not hard, just a brush of shoulders. But Trevor stopped. He turned, and instead of apologizing, he stared at Gerald like he'd just been insulted. "Watch where you're going," Trevor said. Gerald looked up, confused. "I'm sorry?" "You heard me. You walked right into me." Gerald blinked. He hadn't moved. He'd been standing in the same spot for 2 minutes, but he wasn't the type to argue. He raised a hand in a small gesture of peace. "My apologies. I didn't mean to get in your way." Trevor didn't accept it. He stepped closer. His voice got louder. "You people always do this. Act like you own the place. Can't even stand in line without being in someone's way." The words hung in the air, heavy, ugly. People nearby started to notice. A woman with a stroller slowed down. A teenager at the pizza counter turned to watch. The pretzel stand employee froze mid-transaction. Gerald's face didn't change. He just looked at Trevor calmly and said, "I think there's been a misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding," Trevor shot back. "You bumped into me, and now you're acting like I'm the problem." That wasn't true. Everyone who saw it knew that wasn't true. But Trevor didn't care. He was performing now, feeding off the attention. "I work hard for my money," he said, gesturing around the mall. "I earned the right to shop here in peace. I shouldn't have to deal with people like you cluttering up the place." Gerald's jaw tightened, just slightly, but his voice stayed even. "I'm not cluttering anything. I'm a customer just like you." "Yeah, right," laughed Trevor. "Would you buy? Let me guess. Nothing. You're probably just here wasting time." Gerald didn't respond. He just stood there, calm, dignified, refusing to give Trevor the reaction he wanted. And that made Trevor angrier.
"You got nothing to say now? Typical. You people always back down when someone calls you out." The security guard started walking toward them. A few people in the crowd exchanged glances. One woman whispered to a friend, "Someone needs to stop this." But before anyone could intervene, Trevor took another step forward, close enough that Gerald could smell the coffee on his breath. "You don't belong here," Trevor said, "and deep down you know it." That's when Gerald finally spoke, not loudly, not emotionally, just plain and factual. "I've been coming to this mall for 15 years. I think I belong here just fine." Trevor opened his mouth to respond, but the security guard cut him off. "Excuse me, gentlemen, is there a problem here?" Trevor turned, annoyed. "Yeah, there's a problem. This guy bumped into me, and now he's acting like I'm the bad guy." The guard looked at Gerald. "Sir?" "I didn't bump into anyone," Gerald said calmly. "I've been standing in the same spot. He approached me." Trevor's face flushed. "That's a lie." The guard looked around. He saw the phones, the stares, the tension. He knew this wasn't a simple bump. "All right," the guard said. "Let's all take a breath. Sir," he looked at Trevor, "maybe it's best if you move along." Trevor's mouth fell open. "Are you serious? You're taking his side?" "I'm not taking anyone's side. I'm asking you to move along before this gets out of hand." Trevor pointed at Gerald. "This is ridiculous. You're letting him get away with—" "Sir," the guard interrupted, firm now, "move along or I'll have to ask you to leave the premises." Trevor stared. His face went red. He wasn't used to being told no. For a moment it looked like he might escalate, but then he stepped back, shaking his head. "Unbelievable," he muttered. "This country's gone to hell." He shot one last look at Gerald. Then he turned and walked toward the exit. The crowd started to disperse. The guard asked Gerald if he was okay. Gerald nodded. But this wasn't over, not even close. Trevor didn't leave. He walked about 50 feet toward the exit, then stopped. He stood near a bench, pulled out his phone, and started typing furiously. His face was still red. His jaw was clenched. Gerald noticed but didn't react. He just went back to waiting by the pretzel stand. His granddaughter texted him. She'd be another 10 minutes. 5 minutes passed. The food court returned to normal. People went back to their meals. The security guard moved on to patrol another section of the mall. Then Trevor came back. He walked straight up to Gerald. No hesitation this time. No pretense of an accident. "You think you're smart, don't you?" Gerald looked up from his phone. His expression was tired. Not angry, just tired. "I'm not looking for a fight." "Yeah, well, you got one." Trevor stepped closer. "You made me look like an idiot in front of all these people." "I didn't do anything," Gerald replied calmly. "You did that yourself." That was the wrong thing to say. Trevor's face twisted. "Oh, so now you got a mouth on you? Now you're talking back?" A few heads turned again. People were starting to watch. Gerald sighed. "Please, just leave me alone." "No," Trevor said. "I don't think I will. You know what your problem is? You think you can just stand here and act like you're better than everyone, like you deserve to be here. I'm just waiting for my granddaughter."
"I don't care what you're doing," Trevor snapped. "You're taking up space. You're making this place worse just by being here." The words were louder now, angrier. A woman nearby pulled her child closer. A man at a table stood up like he was ready to intervene. But Gerald stayed calm. He looked Trevor in the eye and said, "I'm not going anywhere. I have every right to be here." Trevor laughed, a bitter, nasty laugh. "Rights? You're talking to me about rights? Let me tell you something, old man. Nobody here wants you around. They're just too polite to say it." Gerald didn't flinch. "That's your opinion, not a fact." "It's the truth," Trevor said. "Look around. You don't fit in. You never will." By now, at least 20 people were watching. Some had their phones out again. A teenager was recording. A woman whispered urgently into her phone, probably calling security. Trevor saw the cameras, and instead of backing down, he leaned into it. "Go ahead, record this," he said to the crowd. "Let everyone see what I have to deal with. Let them see how people like him think they can just do whatever they want." Gerald's hands were shaking now, just slightly, but his voice stayed steady. "I haven't done anything to you." "You exist," Trevor said. "That's enough." Silence. Heavy, awful silence. Then a voice from the crowd. A young black woman, maybe 25, holding a shopping bag. "Hey, that's enough." Trevor turned to her. "Excuse me?" "I said that's enough. Leave him alone." "Mind your business," Trevor shot back. "This is my business," she said, stepping forward. "You're harassing an old man for no reason. Everyone can see it." More people nodded. A man in a business suit spoke up. "She's right. You need to stop." Trevor looked around. For the first time, he seemed to realize he was surrounded. Not physically, but morally. The room had turned against him. His face went from red to pale. He pointed at Gerald. "You're all being played. He's acting innocent, but I know his type. I've dealt with people like him my whole life." "His type?" the young woman repeated. Say what you really mean. Trevor's mouth opened, then closed. He knew he was cornered. He knew if he said what he was thinking, it would be the end of him. So he pivoted. I'm the victim here, he said, louder now. I'm the one being attacked. All I did was ask him to move, and now I'm being ganged up on by a mob. Nobody bought it. A mall security guard appeared again, a different one this time, older, more experienced. His nameplate read, J. Martinez. Sir, Martinez said, addressing Trevor, I'm going to need you to step away from this gentleman. Why? I'm not doing anything wrong. Multiple people have reported harassment. I need you to come with me. Trevor's eyes went wide. Are you kidding me? I'm the one being harassed. Sir, if you don't comply, I'll have to call the police. That got Trevor's attention. He looked around one more time, at the phones, at the faces staring at him, at Gerald standing calm and quiet like a stone in a river. Fine, Trevor said, but this isn't over. Martinez gestured toward the mall office. Let's go. Trevor hesitated. Then he walked. But as he passed Gerald, he stopped and leaned in close. You're gonna regret this, he whispered.
And you, Martinez continued, verbally assaulted him in a public space, on camera, with witnesses. Trevor sat back down, slowly, like his legs had stopped working. I didn't know. Would it have mattered if you did? Trevor didn't answer, but they both knew the truth. It wouldn't have mattered, not to someone like Trevor. Martinez closed the article. Judge Winters hasn't pressed charges yet, but if he changes his mind, you're looking at harassment, possibly a hate crime, depending on how the DA sees it. Hate crime? Trevor's voice cracked. I didn't. You told a black man he didn't belong, that people like him don't fit in, that he was cluttering up the place. Martinez's tone was flat, factual. Multiple witnesses heard it. It's on video. Trevor put his head in his hands. I'm going to ask you one question, Martinez said, and I want an honest answer. Why did you do it? Silence. Trevor looked up. His eyes were red. I don't know. That's not good enough. I don't know, Trevor repeated, louder this time. I was having a bad day. I was stressed, and I saw him, and I just... You just what? Trevor's voice dropped to a whisper. I thought I could. There it was, the truth. He thought he could get away with it. He thought Gerald was an easy target, someone who wouldn't fight back, someone who wouldn't matter. He was wrong on every count. Martinez stood up. You need to leave, now, through the back exit. And if I were you, I'd pray Judge Winters doesn't decide to pursue this. Trevor stood. His hands were shaking now. He walked to the door, then stopped. Can I apologize to him? Martinez shook his head. No, you've done enough. Leave him alone. Trevor nodded. Then he walked out. Martinez watched him go. Then he picked up his phone and called his supervisor. They needed to document everything in case this went further. Meanwhile, out in the food court, Gerald's granddaughter had finally arrived. Her name was Simone, 22 years old, bright smile. She had no idea what had just happened. Sorry I took so long, Grandpa, she said, carrying 2 shopping bags. The line at the makeup store was crazy. Gerald smiled, a real smile, the first one in the last hour. It's all right, sweetheart. I'm just glad you're here. They started walking toward the exit. Simone chattered about her purchases. Gerald listened, nodding at the right moments. But his mind was somewhere else, on Trevor's face, on the words he'd said, on the people who'd stood up for him. He thought about all the times this had happened before, in courtrooms, in restaurants, in grocery stores, the looks, the comments, the assumptions. He'd spent 30 years fighting for justice, for fairness, for dignity. And still, in a shopping mall on a Tuesday afternoon, someone thought they could take that away from him. But they couldn't. They never could. Trevor didn't go home. He sat in his car in the parking lot for 20 minutes, hands on the steering wheel, staring at nothing. His phone buzzed, a text from his wife. "When are you coming home? Did you get the stuff for dinner?"
Gerald didn't respond. He just watched Trevor walk away, flanked by security. The crowd began to break up. A few people came over to check on Gerald. The young woman who'd spoken up asked if he was okay. "I'm fine," Gerald said softly. "Thank you." But he wasn't fine, not really. His hands were still shaking. His chest felt tight. And somewhere in the mall office, Trevor was about to learn something that would change everything. Martinez led Trevor into a small office behind the customer service desk. It was plain. A desk, 2 chairs, a computer monitor, and a wall of security screens showing different angles of the mall. "Have a seat," Martinez said. Trevor sat down, arms crossed. "I don't know why I'm the one being dragged in here. That old man is the problem." Martinez didn't respond. He sat at the desk and started typing on the computer. He pulled up the security footage from the food court. Multiple angles, timestamps, everything. "I'm going to review what happened," Martinez said, "and then we'll talk." Trevor shifted in his seat. "Fine, you'll see I'm right." Martinez hit play. The footage showed Gerald standing by the pretzel stand, alone, not moving, just looking at his phone. Then Trevor appeared, walking toward him, phone to his ear. He bumped into Gerald, not the other way around. Trevor leaned forward. "Wait, that's not—" Martinez paused the video. "You bumped into him, not the other way around. It was crowded. Accidents happen." "Sure, but what happened after wasn't an accident." He hit play again. The footage showed Trevor stopping, turning, starting a confrontation, his mouth moving, Gerald backing up slightly, hands raised in peace. Then Trevor stepping closer, pointing, gesturing aggressively. The audio wasn't clear, but the body language told the whole story. Martinez fast-forwarded to the second confrontation. Trevor coming back, getting in Gerald's face, the crowd gathering, the young woman stepping in. Trevor watched in silence. His face had gone pale. Martinez stopped the video. "You harassed that man, twice, after being told to leave him alone." "I didn't harass anyone," Trevor said, but his voice had lost his edge. I was upset." "Upset about what?" Trevor didn't answer. Martinez leaned back in his chair. "Here's what's going to happen. I'm banning you from this property for 30 days. If you come back before then, you'll be arrested for trespassing." Trevor's eyes went wide. "You can't do that." "I can, and I am." "This is insane," Trevor said, standing up. "I'm a paying customer. I spend money here. That guy probably doesn't even—" "That guy," Martinez interrupted, "is Gerald Winters." Trevor blinked. "So?" Martinez pulled up something on his computer. He turned the monitor so Trevor could see. It was a news article. The headline read, "Local Judge Retires After 30 Years on the Bench." And there was a photo. Gerald Winters, in judicial robes, standing in a courtroom. Trevor's mouth fell open. Judge Winters served in the County Superior Court for 3 decades. He presided over criminal cases, civil rights cases. He's one of the most respected legal minds in the state. Trevor stared at the screen. His face had gone from pale to gray.
He'd forgotten. He was supposed to pick up groceries. That's why he'd gone to the mall in the first place. He texted back, "On my way." But he didn't move. He just sat there, replaying everything in his head. The confrontation, the security footage, the article about Gerald Winters. A judge. He'd harassed a retired judge. His phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't his wife. It was a notification from Facebook. Someone had tagged him in a video. His stomach dropped. He opened the app. The video was already at 3,000 views. The caption read, "Man harasses elderly black man at Riverside Mall. Disgusting behavior." The video showed everything. Trevor getting in Gerald's face, the things he'd said, the crowd turning against him,
Security escorting him away. The comments were brutal. What a piece of trash. Someone needs to find out where this guy works. I hope he loses everything. Trevor's hands started shaking. He tried to delete the tag, but it was too late. The video had been shared 20 times, 50 times, 100. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Hello? Is this Trevor Callahan? A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. Who's asking? My name is Linda Reeves. I'm the HR director at Dalton and Associates. Trevor's blood went cold. Dalton and Associates. His employer. He'd worked there for 6 years. Sales manager. Good salary, benefits. Yes, this is Trevor. Mr. Callahan, we've been made aware of a video circulating online. A video showing you engaged in what appears to be harassment of another individual at a public location. Trevor closed his eyes. It's not what it looks like. Several people have sent us the video, Linda continued, and frankly, it looks very clear. We take allegations of harassment and discrimination extremely seriously. I wasn't discriminating against anyone, Trevor said quickly. It was a misunderstanding. I was stressed. I made a mistake. Mr. Callahan, in the video, you can clearly be heard telling someone they don't belong, that people like them are a problem. Do you deny saying those things? Silence. Mr. Callahan? I was upset. I wasn't thinking. Linda sighed. We're going to need you to come in tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Don't be late. Am I being fired? We'll discuss your employment status tomorrow. Until then, you're suspended without pay. The line went dead. Trevor dropped his phone. He wanted to scream. He wanted to punch something. But all he could do was sit there, numb. His whole life was unraveling, and it had taken less than 2 hours. Meanwhile, Gerald was at home. His wife, Patricia, was in the kitchen making tea. Simone had left an hour ago. The house was quiet. Gerald sat in his armchair, the same one he'd sat in for 15 years, the same one where he'd read case files late into the night when he was still on the bench. Patricia brought him a cup of tea, Earl Grey, no sugar. You're quiet, she said, sitting on the couch across from him. Just thinking.
How about what happened today? He looked up. Simone told you? She texted me, said there was some kind of incident at the mall. Patricia's face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. What really happened? Gerald told her. Everything. The bump, the insults, the confrontation, the security footage, Trevor's face when he realized who Gerald was. Patricia listened without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. How do you feel? She asked. Tired, Gerald said. Mostly just tired. Are you going to press charges? He shook his head. I don't think so. Why not? That man deserves consequences. He's already getting them. The video's online, his job's probably in jeopardy, his reputation's destroyed. What more would charging him accomplish? Patricia leaned forward. It would send a message that this behavior isn't acceptable, that there are real consequences. I know, Gerald said softly, but I've spent 30 years in courtrooms. I've seen what charges do to people. Sometimes they help, sometimes they just destroy, and I'm not sure destruction is what's needed here. So you're just going to let him walk away? No, Gerald said. I'm going to let him face what he's already created. Sometimes that's more powerful than anything I could do to him. Patricia didn't look convinced, but she knew her husband. Once he made a decision, that was it. Gerald's phone rang. He glanced at the screen, a number he recognized. He answered. Hello? This is Officer Martinez from Riverside Mall. I wanted to follow up on today's incident. I appreciate that. I've documented everything, the footage, the witness statements. If you decide to press charges, we have everything you'd need.
Thank you, Gerald said, but I don't think I will. There was a pause. May I ask why? Because I think that young man is already learning his lesson, and sometimes mercy teaches more than punishment. Martinez was quiet. Then, "You're a better man than me, Judge." "I don't know about that. I just know that hate doesn't end with more hate." They talked for a few more minutes. Martinez gave him a case number in case he changed his mind. Then they hung up. Patricia was watching him. "You're serious about this?" "I am." "Even after everything he said to you?" Gerald set his tea down. "Especially after everything he said. Because if I press charges out of anger, then I'm no different than he is. I'm just using power to hurt someone because I can." "That's not the same thing." "Isn't it?" Gerald looked at her. "He thought he had power over me because of who I am. If I use the legal system to crush him because of who I am, how is that different?" Patricia didn't have an answer. Gerald stood up slowly. His joints ached. 63 years of living, 30 years of standing in courtrooms, a lifetime of facing down people like Trevor. "I'm going to take a walk," he said. "It's getting dark." "I'll be fine." He walked outside. The evening air was cool. The neighborhood was quiet. He walked down his street, past houses he'd known for decades. And he thought about Trevor, about the fear in his eyes when he saw that article, about the phone call that probably came from his job, about the video spreading across the internet.
Gerald didn't feel satisfaction. He didn't feel vindication. He felt sad. Sad that in 2025 this was still happening. Sad that someone could look at him and see nothing but a problem to be removed. Sad that hate was still so easy, so reflexive. But he also felt something else, hope, because people had stood up for him. The young woman, the businessman, the crowd who refused to let Trevor's narrative stand. That mattered. That meant something. Maybe the world was changing, slowly, imperfectly, but changing. Gerald walked back home. Patricia was waiting by the door. "Feel better?" she asked. "A little," he said. They went inside together. And somewhere across town, Trevor was staring at his phone, watching his life fall apart, one comment at a time. 3 days passed. The video had gone viral, over 2 million views. It was on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Local news stations picked it up. National outlets started calling it another example of public racism caught on camera. Trevor's name was everywhere. People found his Facebook, his LinkedIn, his employer's website. They left reviews, 1 star, hundreds of them. "This company employs racists. Fire Trevor Callahan or lose customers. Do better." Dalton & Associates released a statement on Wednesday morning. "We do not tolerate discrimination or harassment of any kind. After a thorough review, we have terminated Mr. Callahan's employment effective immediately. We are committed to fostering an inclusive environment for all." Trevor was done. No job, no income. His wife barely spoke to him. His friends stopped returning his calls. He'd become a cautionary tale, a meme, a symbol of everything wrong with casual racism in America. On Thursday morning, he did something he should have done on day one. He wrote a letter. Not a public apology, not a statement for the press, a handwritten letter addressed to Gerald Winters. He didn't know Gerald's home address, so he sent it to the Riverside Mall security office, care of Officer Martinez. He hoped it would find its way to him. The letter was 2 pages, messy handwriting, crossed-out words. It wasn't polished, but it was honest. "Dear Judge Winters, I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just need to say what I should have said 3 days ago. I was wrong, completely, inexcusably wrong. I said terrible things to you, things I can't take back, things that came from a place of ignorance and anger that I didn't even know I was carrying. I've been asking myself why I did it, why I looked at you and decided you were less than me, why I thought I had the right to speak to you that way. I don't have a good answer. I was raised better than that. I know better than that.
But in that moment, I let something ugly take over, and I hurt you, a man who never did anything to me, a man who spent his life fighting for justice while I was throwing insults at strangers in a mall. I lost my job, my reputation, maybe my marriage, and I deserve all of it. But what bothers me most isn't what I lost, it's what I revealed about myself. I thought I was a good person. I thought I was above this kind of behavior. I was wrong about that, too.
I'm not writing this to ask for anything. I'm writing because you deserve to hear it. You deserve an apology, a real one. I'm sorry, Judge Winters, for every word, for every look, for making you feel unwelcome in a place where you had every right to be. I'm going to do better. I have to, because the man I was on Tuesday isn't someone I can live with. I hope you're well. I hope your granddaughter enjoyed her shopping trip, and I hope you never have to deal with someone like me again. Sincerely, Trevor Callahan. Martinez received the letter on Friday. He read it. Then he called Gerald. Judge Winters, I have something for you. A letter from Trevor Callahan. Would you like me to send it to you, or would you prefer I dispose of it? Gerald thought for a moment. Send it. The letter arrived on Saturday. Gerald sat at his kitchen table and read it. Patricia watched from across the room. When he finished, he set it down carefully. What do you think? Patricia asked. I think he means it, Gerald said. Whether that changes anything, I don't know. Are you going to respond? Gerald shook his head. No, but I'm glad he wrote it. Not for me, for him. He needed to say it. Patricia came over and sat next to him. You really aren't going to press charges, are you? No. Even though you could? Especially because I could. Gerald looked at her. Power isn't about what you can do to people. It's about what you choose not to do. She took his hand. You're a good man, Gerald Winters. I'm just a man trying to do the right thing. 2 weeks later, Gerald was back at Riverside Mall. Not because he had to be, not because he was proving a point, just because his granddaughter wanted to go shopping again. They walked through the food court, past the pretzel stand, past the spot where it all happened. A few people recognized him. A woman smiled and nodded. A teenager gave him a thumbs up. An older man stopped and shook his hand. Thank you for handling that with grace, the man said. My son saw the video. It started a conversation in our house, an important one. Gerald thanked him and kept walking. Simone noticed. You're kind of famous now, Grandpa. Gerald chuckled. Famous for being old and patient. Famous for being dignified, Simone corrected. You could have destroyed that guy, but you didn't. Destroying him wouldn't have changed anything. He destroyed himself. I just gave him the space to learn from it. They bought pretzels, the same stand, the same order, cinnamon sugar. And as they sat at a table eating and talking, Gerald realized something. He wasn't angry anymore. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't carrying Trevor's words around like a weight. He'd let it go, not because Trevor deserved it, but because Gerald deserved peace. That's the thing about dignity. Nobody can take it from you. They can test it, they can challenge it, but if you hold on to it, it's yours forever. Trevor learned that the hard way, and maybe, just maybe, he'd become a better person because of it. Or maybe he wouldn't. Either way, that was Trevor's journey now, not Gerald's. Gerald finished his pretzel, wiped his hands, and smiled at his granddaughter. Ready to go? He asked. Ready, Simone said. They walked out together, past the stores, past the security desk, past the memories of that Tuesday afternoon, and Gerald felt something he hadn't felt in a while. Lightness. Because justice doesn't always look like punishment. Sometimes it looks like walking away with your head high. Sometimes it looks like mercy. And sometimes it looks like an old man and his granddaughter laughing over pretzels, refusing to let hate win. So let me ask you this. Do you think Trevor will actually change? Do you think one incident can transform a person, or does it take more than that? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story meant something to you, hit that like button and subscribe. We've got more real, powerful stories coming your way. Stories that matter. Stories that make you think. Thanks for watching. And remember, dignity is something you choose every single day. See you in the next one.